That first moment of clarity, where a complex solution finally clicks, is often the most fragile point in a project's life. Cognitive science shows our working memory is a strict bottleneck. Without a way to externalize it, an insight begins to degrade in as little as 15 to 30 seconds. To survive that window, you have to capture it fast. A rough sketch on a napkin or single line of text is enough to anchor the idea so it isn't lost to the next distraction. But here is the conflict. While a scribble is enough for you, it is rarely enough to persuade an enterprise partner to invest their time or budget. This pressure usually drives us to take that raw note and immediately bury it inside a highly polished, visually impressive, but completely static presentation. When you treat a growing idea as a finished document, you create a built-in defect. You stop it from accepting new inputs, just as the real work of refinement is beginning. We can map every deliverable using this framework.
We measure the agility to change on the horizontal axis and design effort on the vertical. In the top left are heavy artifacts like PDFs or rendered videos. They have high design authority but update slowly. In the bottom right are raw text files. They are easy to change but lack a professional finish to hold a room's attention. The top right quadrant allows a project to maintain high-end visual authority while remaining fully synced with new data. Most teams never reach this space because they still use 1990s desktop publishing methods or local software that keeps data locked inside a single computer. The collaboration between Tony Calise and Joe Ciampi is a pilot project designed to bridge this gap, moving high-impact design into a web-scalable environment. The 4EI storefront pipeline categorizes these deliverables into 4 stages, moving from $100 raw concepts to multi-$1,000 enterprise integrations. At the $100 Brief 01 level, the goal is speed. It's the immediate answer to the working memory bottleneck we saw earlier. However, at this tier, the visual polish is rudimentary. The innovator often finds themselves isolated, unable to bridge the gap between their mental model and what the stakeholders see. On the other side of the spectrum are high-effort artifacts, such as an $8,000 video memento. This tier provides immediate visual authority. It's effective for high-stakes presentations where you need to deliver a specific emotional narrative. But the cost of that finish is a lack of flexibility. Like a photograph, it is a record of how things were when it was made, not a living tool for how things are changing now. Neither extreme fits our goal for this pilot. One lacks the design needed to lead, and the other abandons the ability to improve. The traditional agency model usually focuses on a perfect day-one delivery, a massive, unalterable file. This creates a legacy burden. When the file is static, correcting a single typo or updating a project variable requires a human-intensive governance process just to open the document back up. We are replacing that model with a doubling penny approach, using open web SVGs and live 3D objects to build briefs 02 and 03. Because these formats are machine-readable, a single web link can synchronize updates across every person who has accessed the project, instantly. These corrections happen in the background, utilizing only kilobytes of bandwidth and a fraction of a penny's worth of electricity. To make this work, the designer has to trade total control over fixed pixels for the constraints of open web, live update environments. While a web-safe illustration might not have the depth of a pre-rendered film, its ability to compound improvements over time makes it a more effective long-term asset. Our strategic recommendation is to focus the pilot project on the threshold between Brief 02 and Brief 03. This will be a live, editable virtual office, or complex SVG, that combines Tony's data architecture with Joe's professional visual design. This checklist defines the requirements for occupying that high-impact, high-agility quadrant. First, it must be natively web-scalable and machine-readable. Second, it retains a professional aesthetic, tailored by a human designer, rather than relying on generic templates. Finally, it must support continuous, sub-penny update costs. This approach serves enterprise teams who need to visualize complex systems but must adapt to variables that change by the hour. This is not for clients looking for a one-time graphic to print and forget. In 2026, the competitive advantage belongs to those who stop treating ideas as finished documents and start treating them as living assets that can scale as fast as they improve.